Thank you very much. Let this be a lesson to those of you junior in the audience. When you complain about the lack of something, that you will be responsible for doing it. So it is a huge honor to be up here. It is a ton of fun to give out awards. There's really very few things that I get to do in this job that are this much. Graduating students and giving awards are kind of the two really fun things. I was helped by a spectacular committee. Rebecca Wright, Patrick McDaniels, Dave Evans, and Ari Jewell all helped me go through all of the papers from 2007, 8, and 9. And again, our standard was papers that have had a lasting impact on the field. And I don't need to say more than that, so I'm going to start with the first of what will be 2 award winners for this year. All right. And that is Pacemakers and Implantable Cardiac Defibrillators, Software Radio Attacks and Zero Power Defenses by Daniel Halperin, Thomas Benjamin, Benjamin Ransford, Shane Clark, Vanessa Defend, Will Morgan, Kevin Fu, Yoshi Kono, and William Maisel. All right, first a big round of applause for everyone. As they're coming up, this was a spectacular paper both in really helping us launch the field of cyber-physical security, the notion that security in computer systems could reach out and touch the real world, but also launching the notion of security in healthcare and fundamentally driving the FDA to address security in a deep way. This is the paper that caused it to happen. Great job, guys. All right, and paper number 2, another one of my favorites is Robust De-anonymization of Large Sparse Datasets by Arvind Narayanan and Vitaly Shmatikov. There is Vitaly. This paper really popularized the term de-anonymization and really changed the way we looked at what large datasets, what anonymization means in the context of large data sets, in this case, the Netflix challenge, and I think launched the way we look at privacy in large data today. Great job.
Yeah, can I tell a little story, if I have a minute?
Let me take a photo first.
Okay, all right. Story time. So first of all, thanks for this award. Sorry, Arvind couldn't be here, but I am. So this paper, it was published in Auckland 08. We originally submitted it to Auckland 07, and we got 3 rejects. One said that there is no novelty or research in it. The second one said that it's kind of amusing, but impact is going to be low. And the third one said that it's lightweight and not surprising. I don't know what the lesson is, but as far as the big de-anonymization picture is concerned, Arvind and I, we wrote like a little 2-pager with our thoughts about what happened in the intervening 10 years. So it's out now, so you can read what we think, not about the reviews, but about the technical state of de-anonymization today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So now it's time for the catch-up Test of Time Awards. And this is actually over a period of the first 15 years from 1980 through 1994, which turned out, that's a huge number of papers. There were a lot of excellent ones, which I urge you all to go back and read. But we found 10 that we thought were, even more outstanding than the other ones. And so without further ado, I would like to start presenting them. And it's going to be in order of time. So I'm going to start actually from the very first year. Yes, it's a paper, actually a cryptography paper by Ralph Merkle, Protocols for Public Key Cryptography. And this, public key crypto systems. And so this was like the very so this paper actually had two purposes. It was to actually to give a general introduction to public key crypto systems, which was still, a very new thing. But also it turned out sort of by accident to be actually the very first place where Merkle hash trees appeared in print. And this is an algorithm that's been wonderfully, it's just wonderfully versatile, and it's used in everything from blockchains to certain digital signature schemes that are still interesting because they're secure against quantum algorithms. They're post-quantum. So in 1980, already had papers talking about things that turned out to be post-quantum. So, very pleased to make this award. Unfortunately, Ralph couldn't make it today, but he was very pleased to hear about this. And the next paper, the next paper is actually, you've already heard about it today. It's Dick Kemmerer's A Practical Approach to Identifying Storage and Timing Channels. And so this is the shared resource matrix paper. And if you're working in covert channels today, or side channels, this is a paper you really should read. And it was very influential in its time, and it still has a lot of relevance. Yeah.
There's a pattern here.
The next one, we're going now to another paper from 1982. Joseph Goguen and Jose Messiger, Security Policies and Security Models. And this is the paper that introduced the concept of non-interference. So a general way of modeling information flow or protection against information flow. And this is also something that's been very influential, not only in the theory of security, where it's had numerous offspring, but also it's still being used to verify secure systems such as Cell4. So I'm very pleased to. Unfortunately, Jose, who is unfortunately the only surviving member of this team, was not able to make it, and I have a brief comment to read from him, which is, due to prior unavoidable commitments, I regret I cannot be present in person to receive this award. I receive it with gladness, thinking about my late friend and colleague, Joseph Goguen, with whom I developed the ideas on non-interference. He would have also been glad to receive this recognition. And now we come to 1983, and this is something that also has a lot of relevance today. This paper is on sort of like the first practical application of public key cryptography to do authentication without secrecy. And this was when public key cryptography was still kind of hot off the press. So this was, and these these techniques are still used in treaty compliance today. Okay, the next one is one that's actually dear to my heart because it's something that sort of sparked one of my own research threads, which is the formal verification of cryptographic protocols. And one of the main inspirations to me actually was Jonathan Millen's paper, The Interrogator, a tool for cryptographic protocol security. And so this was actually the first fully automated tool for searching for attacks in cryptographic protocols. And it not only sparked my interest in looking at this problem from sort of a model checking point of view, but also I think my tool also inspired some other tools, and other people started looking at this problem, and it became actually, and this paper had many of the ideas that wound up being used in these tools. So John unfortunately couldn't make it today either, but he did say, he also left a message, gave me a message to deliver. I am sorry I could not attend. I would like to thank the technical committee for creating this Test of Time award and the selections committee for considering my paper worthy of it. 35 years is a long time to be remembered. Okay. And the next one, we've also had this, I've also heard this mentioned several times today. Oh, okay, so it's in a slightly different order. But this paper is A Global Authentication Service Without Global Trust by Andrew Birrell, Butler, Lampson, Roger Needham, and Michael Schroeder. And this was a paper in which the authors anticipated the challenge of authentication in very large networks. This was just in 1986 when there weren't too many very large networks. But the solution they described pointed the way for today's systems that support tens of millions of individual users and enterprise networks that do not require and cannot assure global trust. Yes, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. And the next paper is let's see, I just want to check, where's Dorothy? Where's Dorothy Denning in the, okay. Okay. The next paper is John McLean's Reasoning About Security Models. And this is a paper that came out in the 1980s. This was a time when the main research focus was multi-level security, but John discovered some fundamental questions that weren't being asked at the, or weren't being answered in the prevailing approach. And he wrote this paper, and it caused somewhat of a controversy at Oakland when it was delivered, but it actually had a very positive impact. It started other people thinking about the foundations of computer security, and I believe it had a lot to do with the establishment of the what is now the Computer Security Foundation Symposium, which is devoted to looking at these problems. And now it's understood that foundations of computer security is a legitimate topic. And he, unfortunately, could not make it, And he said, he also sent a message, "I'm sorry I can't be with you today to express my gratitude in person for being selected as one of the recipients of the Test of Time Award. This award is especially important to me since the IEEE Security and Privacy Symposium and community played such an important role in my research career. I thank the award committee for including me amongst such a prestigious group." Okay. Okay. This paper, you may have already heard mentioned once or twice today. This is the paper which, way back in 1986, introduced the use of anomaly detection into intrusion detection. And this inspired a whole field of research and has enriched the range of tools available to intruder detection systems today.
Okay. Can I just add? This paper had one negative review that said it had already all been done.
Okay. Okay, the next paper, Encrypted Key Exchange, Password-Based Protocols Secure Against Dictionary Attacks by Stephen Bellovin and Michael Merritt in 1992. This was, a really amazing paper. It pointed out a problem that nobody had addressed before, and that's the problem. If you have a password-based key distribution protocol, and these were starting to appear, how do you defend against guessing attacks? And they actually not only identified this problem, they came up with a workable solution. And this actually has inspired a whole line of research that's still going strong. And it's resulted in encrypted key exchange protocols beginning to be adopted by the standards committees today. I have, unfortunately, neither Steve nor Michael were able to make it, but I've talked with both of them, and they were both very happy to hear about this. And now I'm coming to the very last, but not least, and this is Martin Abadi's and Roger Needham's paper on prudent engineering practice for cryptographic protocols. And this is a paper in which the authors took their insights gained from their experience with the formal verification of protocols and gave a set of rules of thumb that if you followed would be much more likely that your protocol would be secure. And if you didn't follow, you were likely to run in some problems. And these rules are, just as relevant today as they were in 1994. I urge you, if you're interested in this problem at all, to read this paper. I think it's one that's also commonly used in teaching about protocols. So I'm very happy to hear that. Yeah. Okay. I'd just like to before I leave, I'd just like to make a few words of thanks, not only to all the authors, but to my co-chair, Steve Lipner, and all the members of the committee, who all did a wonderful job and spent many hours on this. It's not easy looking over 15 years of papers and trying to decide who gets the award.
All right, thanks. Yes, okay, good.
Yeah, let's have a round of applause for all of our Test of Time awardees. And thank you, Stefan and Cathy, for starting this wonderful new tradition. And I get to close out the session by saying, please join us outside where there is cake and cocktails as we can reflect on these 40 awesome years. And then there's the TC meeting afterwards, so come back in. Again, everybody is welcome to join the TC meeting. But please, don't leave any cake.